So I'm a little choked up. So, the thing I forgot to tell you all at the beginning, that I meant to tell you, is that this graduation, not just lab grad and women and gender studies, but just in general, is really special to me because I started Mason in 2012, and so a lot of the graduates that are graduating tonight and this week were freshmen when I started, and so I met Taylor when she was a freshman, and our next speaker as well. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through myself. Because I'm off my square after those speeches. Okay, so Alex Camp, the co-chair of the Lambda Alumni Association, is going to come up and welcome our alumni and introduce our next speaker.
Hi everyone. So I feel a little old. So I've been on this podium every year since the beginning. And I know less people every time I'm up here. So, my name is Alex Camp, for those of you that don't know me. I graduated from Mason in 2008. I am the co-chair of and one of the founders of the LGBTQ Lambda Alumni Chapter. I'd like to start by welcoming all of our graduates to the Lambda Alumni Chapter. I hope you will remain active within the LGBT community at Mason, participate in all the events and programs that we put together as a chapter each year. We host a handful of annual events, happy hours, socials, and fundraisers for our scholarship fund. I encourage each of you to get involved with our chapter, become a board member, and sign up on our mailing list. There's a table for the Alumni Association over there. Please don't forget to stop by the table. You get a free t-shirt. I know that's always... So every year I have the privilege of introducing the award. It's hard to believe that this is the 7th year that the Lambda Alumni Chapter has given this award. Lisa, you're not the only one up here with tears. The Brian Piccone Award for Leadership and Advocacy Excellence was developed after the sudden passing of Brian Piccone, who was a student speaker at the very first Lavender graduation in 2009. He was a very prominent member of the LGBT community at Mason, an outstanding alumnus, a member of Pride Alliance, trainer in the Safe Zone program, and a friend. Like many Mason students, he struggled to balance out everything in his life, but remained determined to do it all. He graduated from the New Century College program. He received an Integrated Studies Academic Excellence Award and the 2009 Outstanding Integrated Studies Graduate Award. Brian is one of the most passionate people I've ever known. He yearned to learn from and educate others on gender theory, cultural equality, feminist theory, and socio-cultural issues. While co-teaching a queer theory class on October 26, 2009, Brian passed away from cardiac arrest. Brian was both extremely active in the larger picture of activism and organizing, and also present, generous, and loving to each individual he encountered. Most importantly, he had a spot in everyone's heart who knew him. The Brian Piccone Award is given in his name to someone who demonstrates a commitment to LGBTQ equality, makes contributions to the LGBTQ community within Mason or the larger community, demonstrates community building and organizing, and demonstrates passion for learning about and advocating for cultural and social equality. Each year, nominations are submitted for the award and are reviewed by the selection committee. This year, the committee consisted of myself, Rick Collar, Dr. Joya Creer, and Alicia Lash. Tonight, I have the honor of presenting the award. Our award recipient this evening is deeply committed to advocacy and liberation in many intersecting movements and within the Mason student organizations that embody them. He not only creates a safe space for the people he encounters, but he also helps them to find their voice. He is passionate about education, advocacy, and leadership development throughout marginalized communities. His dedication has led him to become a strong leader within the Mason community and beyond. He currently serves as a student support coordinator in the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Multicultural Education, where he meets and assists first-generation, undocumented, low-income, and other historically underrepresented students to connect them with educational and financial resources. He also serves as the president of Mason Dreamers, which advocates for undocumented students' access and success in higher education. In 2014, he served as a teaching assistant for Introduction to LGBTQ Studies and helped to structure and facilitate the Active Leaders program, focused on developing leadership, cultural competency, and values. He has delivered multiple speeches and presentations on LGBTQ advocacy, immigrant rights, multicultural education, leadership development, community organizing, and the connections among them. In 2015, he received the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Multicultural Education's Dr. Martin Luther King Spirit of King Award, and in 2014, received a University Life and Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Multicultural Education Vision Award for Leadership. His kind, empathetic, and fierce heart has led him to where he is. He has achieved so much, made a name for himself, put himself through school, worked multiple jobs, and continues to support those in need, all because of how passionately he fights for marginalized and silenced communities. Please join me in congratulating the winner of the 2016 Brian Piccone Award for Leadership and Advocacy Excellence, Rodrigo Velasquez.
So I'm not the best speech giver. I literally wrote this on my way here. But I think this entire week, as some of you may know, I've been going off script, mostly because I haven't left the university and I've been sleeping in my office for the past few nights. Where do I begin? Okay, I know where to begin. So there's 2 days that are really important to me that I'd like to share with you. The first one is July 20th, 2012, and I'll tell you why at the end. But the next one is July 21st, 2015, so last year. So July 21st, 2015, President Obama and his cronies invited many LGBTQ movement leaders to come and celebrate the end of Pride. And one person, I think a lot of you now are kind of catching on to where I'm going to this. One person came, her name was Jenicet Gutierrez from Familia Trans Queer Liberation Movement, and she came into the room and disrupted Obama, demanding that he, with his executive authority, power as president, and quote-unquote progressive leader, end quote, end the detention, deportation, and inhumane treatment of transgender, undocumented immigrants. And similar to as our history as, again, quote unquote, an LGBTQ movement, is she was shut down by predominantly white individuals who were citizens. That same day, I was working in the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Multicultural Education, getting ready to talk to the students that were coming in as first-generation students, some of whom were also undocumented, some of whom also identified as queer. And I thought to myself, how am I and how is this movement failing people in 2015 still? And how can I do something about it? But before I even thought that, as some of the staff can say, I was shaking because I think it was the raw emotion of watching that video that it shook me because I myself am also undocuqueer. And I still think about that even today, even graduating, because while we're all here, there's still a lot of undocumented individuals who identify as queer who weren't even allowed to continue their education, let alone they weren't even allowed to step into a college classroom. So I always remember them because they're my family. I have a lot of biological family members. I'm Latino, so I have a lot of biological family members. But I also have an even more expansive network of chosen family. And I think about them today, I think about them every day, because I get to talk to them every day. And I get to talk to Jenicet, so we're actually friends. So this is kind of a smaller world in the undocumented world, we all know each other. And I was telling her how much I felt betrayed by both movements. But at that specific moment, the LGBTQ movement, because for some reason people don't like to learn about history and do something about it. And one thing that I've learned, and the reason I share this with you today, is for the past 4 years, one of the things that I've learned is the hard way, is that people won't mobilize. People that live at the intersections of all these identities are the ones at the front lines, putting our bodies, putting our minds, putting everything that we have, our credibility, our respect, out there to be taken away. And if there's anything that I learned this week particularly, and this semester, is that I'll make more enemies than I'll make friends, and that I have to be okay with that if I'm gonna have to speak truth to power. Power both in this room, at this university, at the local level, at the federal level, and yes, to a fake, faux, progressive president as Obama. I think a big reason I do this, and a big reason I'm even here today, is because for the longest time I was afraid. Even now I'm kind of afraid, but not really. As much as I was when I first came to school. When I first came to school, oh my gosh, I was a mess. Second year, I was also a mess. Third year, I was also a mess. Going into this year, I was less of a mess because I really gotten to learn a lot about myself, really figure out who I was. Learned a lot this year, fell in and out of love. Almost dropped out of school again for the 6th time because it's so expensive. And if you don't know me, you know, like I'm about the scholarships. I got more scholarships than I could have imagined. Worked 5 jobs my time here, 40 hours a week on average, just to put myself through and support my family. And the reason I say that is because now, as I'm about to graduate, as some of you all are about to graduate, we find ourselves at kind of that transitional point where we came in really scared about ourselves, really afraid of just expressing ourselves, still probably afraid, which is perfectly fine, but a little more confident in who we are. So I could share with you, I don't know who wrote that introduction, but thank you. You know me probably a little more than I know myself. And there's a lot of things that are important in my life, so I'd like to thank the LGBTQ Resource Office, particularly Rick. Like, past 4 years would not be the same without having your support, honestly, in a lot of different ways, particularly when I was given the opportunity to be teaching assistant. Women in Gender Studies, is Angie? Oh, there you are. Thank you so much for letting me sleep in that sofa after really, really long days and after protesting a lot of people. This wouldn't be a graduation without also thanking lead office, Lisa, you wouldn't. Like, leadership was very different when I first started working as a leadership consultant, and by the time that I left the position, I was a lot more confident in myself than I could have really expressed. And then the sole reason I even got to Mason, I see y'all in the corner. The Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Multicultural Education. They were the first people. I met them actually more than 4 years ago. They came to my school, aka Jen came to my high school and said, yeah, even if you're undocumented, you can apply to school. That's when I was not going to even apply to Mason because it wasn't looking. I hope I'm not boring you actually, so I'm going to try to wrap this up real quick. So July 20th or 21st is when Jenny said, made the protest that really reaffirmed who I was, felt really powerful, because afterwards I decided to go on a course that would really redefine who I am. So this year I became an hermano of La Unidad Latina, Lambda Upsilon Lambda Fraternity Incorporated, after a really long semester. And I also found myself remembering one lesson that I learned on July 20th, 2012. As part of the Student Transition Empowerment Program, we do an annual basketball tournament hosted by Dr. Shashan Yu. That was the first day I learned how to shoot a basketball, and he taught me that same day. That was also the day before, the 19th, that it was the first time I told someone I was undocumented outside of my family members and Jennifer. And Dr. Yu, afterwards, without telling anyone, after teaching me how to shoot a basketball, taught me another thing that I keep very close to my heart, And I say this because it means a lot to me as I transition out and thankfully graduate, which is, one, I can shoot a basketball, I'm pretty damn good at it now, and two, I can be my own advocate. And if that means having to be unpopular, which can be even within this room, to be okay with that. Because when we speak truth, when we speak our lived experiences, that's all you have left. And all I have left is my ability to speak on behalf of myself, the people that I care about, and the experiences that I have had in falling more so than rising, and sleeping at Mason when I should go to sleep in my own house. Okay, bye.